guys, it's Emma and I'm back today for you with another video. Today we're going to be talking about big books. Throughout the last couple months I've acquired some fairly big books. And by big books I'm talking about, books that are more than 450 pages long, okay? Chunkers, okay? Books that if you went up and smacked somebody with it, they might get a little angry, okay? And I have made it a goal for 2023 to read more of my bigger books. For this video, I would like to recommend to you guys some big books that I think are worth the pages, okay? So before we actually start, I would like to know down below, what's y'all's favorite big book? Okay, is there a book that you guys wish was longer? Is there a book that you guys wish was shorter? Okay, let me know down below. And with that being said, let's get right into it. The first big book that I would like to recommend to you guys is The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. This is a huge book at 827 pages long, and it's a high fantasy epic that basically is following all these different kingdoms, one of them being a queendom who has no heir, so everybody's kind of freaking out about that, and an evil that was once defeated may or may not be rising up again, and nobody really knows what to do about that. I loved this book. Did it take me a month to read? Yes. But did I love it? Also yes. I gave Priory 5 stars. It's not even funny how much I love this book. I would say that if you're into fantasy standalones, definitely pick up Priory, okay? Because this genuinely felt like a huge fantasy series wrapped up into one, and I loved that. All right, it has a glossary, it has a characters list, it has a places list, and you can definitely tell that a lot of the places are inspired by different countries throughout history, which I loved that aspect, okay? I just loved this book. I thought it was so complex. There were so many different storylines. It has dragons in it, okay? I loved this book, and quite honestly, if I see a booktuber with Priory on their shelves, I automatically get a smile on my face. Next, we have Dune by Frank Herbert. This brick is at 883 pages long. This is basically space Game of Thrones. Okay, we're following the House of Atreides as they're being given the planet of Arrakis, or Dune, as a fiefdom. And the planet Dune is a high producer of the spice, or melange, and the spice allows for space travel. Therefore, Dune is a very high and precious commodity, and not a lot of people are very happy that the Atreides family are in control over it. I gave it 4 stars. I was pleasantly surprised how much I loved Dune. The world in Dune is a lot at first because we're basically thrown in like page 1, but it's so complex. And I loved how everything is based off of like Arabic themes, like the language of the Fremen, the place names of Dune, just the different concepts of the Fremen religion. I loved it. It was so cool. I don't know, Paul is one of my favorite main characters. I love him so much. And I love the journey that he goes on. And I can't wait to continue the series. It's a little intimidating, okay, because we go from this to Dune Messiah. That's 337 pages, so less than half. And then we go to Children of Dune, which is the book I have to read next, which is back up to 600-something pages. And I'm like, Frankie, you're putting me through the ringer. The next big book that I want to recommend to you guys is Daughter of the Moon Goddess by Sulin. This is about the daughter of the moon goddess, Shannon, and she has to basically go down to the celestial kingdom in order to find a way to help her mother get off of the moon. She enters into this contest where she becomes kind of like the fellow apprentice with the prince and his teachings, and she finds out a lot of stuff that she's really good at in military ways, and also a romance may or may not blossom. This beautiful thing is 4 stars and at 512 pages. The world in here is probably one of my favorites I've ever been in, okay? It's almost abstract, but at the same time not, okay? Because we're dealing with, again, the celestial world, worlds other than the mortal realm. I just loved all of the monsters in here. I'd say that, quite honestly, if you're a fan of Shadow of the Fox, like me, this would definitely be up your alley as well. And I don't know, I love Shannon, like Paul. She's one of my favorite main characters. And I really did like the love triangle in here, okay, as well. It really made it difficult to choose. And it wasn't like geared towards one love interest or the other, which unfortunately happens a lot in romance novels. And even though this is like a duology, I've already read The Heart of the Sun Warrior, which is the second book. I would recommend Daughter of the Moon Goddess by itself, honestly, because I think it wraps everything up pretty well on its own. So this could stand as a standalone if you're really not looking to read a duology. The next big book that I want to recommend to you guys is The Final Strife by Saara El-Arifi. This 5-star beauty right here! This is about a world, an empire, where its people are segregated based on what blood they have. The Embers, who are the top dogs, and the oppressors, they bleed red blood, they can blood work, they can make runes out of their blood. The Dusters are on the next rung down, they bleed blue blood. They are the working class of this empire. They are held under slave conditions. And then the Ghostings are the actual servant class. They are the lowest on this hierarchy. They bleed translucent blood, their hands and their tongues are cut off in order to remind them of a rebellion that happened 400 years prior. We're basically following Scylla and a couple of other characters who are gearing up for this competition in order to basically determine who the new rulers are going to be. And Scylla is a part of this plan to overthrow the Embers in totality and introduce a new system that doesn't oppress anybody. The Final Strife is, like I said, 5 stars and at 640 pages. Damn, does it deserve every single one. The world building in this book is spectacular, okay? There's an enemies to lovers sapphic romance in here that honestly made me trip over every single thing they did. It was so good. I normally don't like enemies to lovers because normally a lot of enemies to lovers is not enemies to lovers. This is enemies to lovers, okay? It was so good. The fact that we got to see Scylla go through her drug journey, going from being incredibly addicted to withdrawal to recovery, was so well done in my opinion. The different languages in here, the fact that the Ghostings can only communicate through sign language, everything in this book was so well planned out. And oh, I cannot wait for the second book. I need it in my hands right now. Next, we have The Fountains of Silence by Ruta Sepetys. This is following a photographer who goes with his family to Spain during the 1940s when Francisco Franco is in power, and he is witness to a lot of horrific human rights issues that happened during that time that were kept quiet. Like The Final Strife, The Fountains of Silence is also 5 stars, and like Daughter of the Moon Goddess is at 512 pages. Okay, this book is a historical fiction book like I said before, deals with what happened after Francisco Franco came into power. Francisco Franco stomped on enemies, having their kids taken away and then given to families that were loyal to him. So forced adoptions. The shit that you learn about in this book is absolutely unreal, okay? And it has a lot of mixed media aspects in it as well, like news articles from that time, textbook pages from that time, from fascist propaganda. There's a really beautiful romance where not only Daniel, but his love interest as well, they go around and they try to figure out what the hell's going on, why are people being so secretive, why these nuns are hurrying around with babies in baskets. It really just shows how horrible fascism can get and how fascism specifically affects women and children. I don't know, just the way this book was done and handled was, in my opinion, very well. Next, a personal favorite of mine, what can I say? We have Lilac by B.B. Reid. This beauty is also 5 stars, one of my favorite books of all time, and is at 537 pages. She's tabbed, okay? That's how you know I liked her. This is basically about Braxton, and she joins this uber famous band with its 3 members, Houston, Lauren, and Jericho, and they do not like her. And they also don't like each other. So it's all about her basically trying to keep her head above water, being the new member to this very famous group, and also trying to keep her head above water with these guys in and of themselves, and also about trying to figure out why they don't like each other. Because a while ago, before their former member passed away, they were all like joined at the hip. So Braxton's just trying to find out what the tea is. It is a why choose romance. It's probably one of my favorite why choose romances of all time. The main thing that I love about this is the character growth that we see from all of the guys specifically. Like, I feel like in a lot of romance books, we're really just expected to just kind of glom onto this guy that has borderline abusive ass tendencies. Meanwhile, in here, the guys still are pretty toxic, okay? But they start out like that, and then they get better. They learn, they fix themselves, and it's Braxton. Braxton does not give them any slack. And that's why I love her. She's also one of my favorite main characters of all time. She's just a bad bitch. She knows what she wants. She knows what she's not gonna take. And she doesn't give these boys any inch or mile, all right? She is there to basically whip them into shape. And damn does she do it well. I tabbed them, red for Houston, purple for Braxton, blue for Lauren, and then green for my man Jericho Noble. I am a Jericho Noble stan. Any of you who have read Lilac and love Jericho Noble, I need you to type that down there in the comments right now. Or just if you like rock and roll at all, leave a guitar emoji down below, please, okay? Thank you very much. Also, leave your favorite rock song down below. Why not? This book was so steamy, all right? I would say that if you don't want to buy the physical book, get the audiobook. The audiobook has a full cast, and damn do they narrate it like the rent is due. All right? They had food to put on the table. They had a roof to put over their heads. They had clothes to put on their back, and they needed to buy it. And so they acted their damn hearts out. And I've said that no romance needs to be 500-something pages long. I still stand by that. But I'm a hypocrite, born, bred, and raised. I love me some Lilac. The next one is admittedly probably a little niche, but that is Tallstar's Revenge by Erin Hunter. This girl sits pretty at 503 pages. This is basically recounting Tallstar's life from when he was a kid all the way up until he becomes leader. And some stuff that he has to work through, especially one instance where he has to battle whether or not he wants to choose mercy or revenge. I loved this book so much, okay? This was 5 stars. This is also one of my new favorite books of all time. This is my favorite Warrior Cats book that I've ever read. This book is so existential for me. When I was reading Warrior Cats when I was like in middle school, elementary school, and we saw Tallstar as he was older in the mainstream series, he had so many traits that I just loved. He was wise beyond compare. He was tranquil. He was fair. He was loyal. I loved Tallstar, okay? He's my second favorite Warrior Cats character, right behind Gray Stripe, okay? And so years later, for me, older, to read about Tallstar, younger, and to see so many traits of him, younger, that I had when I was younger, and that I'm still working through now. It was just a completely different experience. Like reading this book was one of those times where you feel, this is why I love reading. This is the reading experience. This is what I love about it. There's so many things, so many other cats, so many other events that are plugged into Tallstar's Revenge that it just all connects through Tallstar. And I feel like that is a pretty damn good mantra to live by. This one is Court of the Vampire Queen by Katee Robert. Before I go into talking about this, I gave this book 2 stars. And you may be wondering, Emma, why is this book being recommended then if you gave it 2 stars? Because objectively, it's 2 stars. Subjectively, it's 4. I had an amazing time reading this book, okay? It's also a why choose romance with a female main character and 3 vampires. 90% of this book is smut, and then 10% of the plot is based around the smut, which I thought was hilarious, okay? But technically, it's not the best thing, okay? Is it my favorite Katee Robert book that I've ever read? Yes, the hell it is. It's also one of my favorite why choose romances that I've ever read. But is there a lot to it? Not really. This is really just a vibes book. I remember saying that I don't think that I would recommend this to anybody outside of the romance genre or the why choose genre. But if you're a Katee Robert fan, if you are honestly a fan of Spike, Dimitri, or Damon, or are just a why choose fan in general, I think this is worth giving it a try, okay? Like I said, I gave it 2 stars, but in my heart it's 4. I had a really damn good time reading this. This is probably the only 2-star book that will ever actually sit on my shelves and remain there. And yeah, she is sitting pretty at 496 pages. And while many think that she might not deserve all of them, I do. So you guys, these are all of the books and others that I don't have with me physically, that are huge books, but that I think are definitely worth the pages, okay? I think all of these are worth a read and worth the time that you take reading them. I just love big books, quite honestly. They're intimidating as shit on the shelf, but in your hands, they're just so much fun because you spend so much time with these characters, you spend so much time in this world. So you guys, with that being said, I hope that you enjoyed. I hope that we can find some camaraderie down in the comments below with other big ass books. I hope you enjoyed. I hope that you will continue to look out for more stuff on my channel because I do have a lot of stuff planned, just like this video. That you guys are staying safe and that you guys have a good rest of your day. Goodbye.